Let's take a look how we have to deal with tables in the RStudio environment. In the previous session, we explored tables just for only one variable. We call it frequency table. In this session, we're gonna investigate how we can use R for investigating two different variables. Okay, we have two different functions, and we're gonna use these two. The first one is called table for developing the table, and as you can remember from the previous session, we're gonna use this prop table argument for changing the numbers to percentage. And yeah, and as I said, when we have just one variable, it's called frequency table. If we include two different variables inside the table function, it would be a cross tabulation. Just two different names, but the function is basically the same. Again, there are some kind of overlap between this material and the previous week. Talking about the usage, table takes, if you want to investigate just one column, just include one column. If you want to investigate the relationship between two different columns, include dataset, $sign column, dataset, $sign column, and don't forget the argument that should be fed to the prop table is type of table. So what basically we do is we are developing a table by these two arguments and feed it to this prop table to get the values in terms of percentage. The dataset that we are going to work with is called property dataset. Please consider in the previous session we also worked with the property dataset, but the name is the same, but the content is different. The property dataset for this session is a bit larger, include more observations and more variables, but still it's about the property. So we have a variable which is called suburb, different suburbs in Melbourne, Southbank, Docklands, Albert Park. Different type of property. It can be flat, unit, house, and so on. We can talk about their views. It can be average, good, average, so on. Their price in terms of thousand. So this 1689 is 1,600,000. How many bedrooms do they have? And in which day of the month they are sold. Similar to what we explored in the previous session, we can use this table function for one column. I can write table and tell him, go to the property data set and find the suburb. Because he's going to tell me we have 5 in the Albert Park, 7 Carlton, and so on. Then I can also tell him, tell me about the frequency of different houses. He's going to tell me I have 7 flats, 10 houses, and 13 different units. What if I want to explore the type of the house in different suburbs? It will be 2 different variables. I'm saying create a table from the property data set, and the first variable is suburb. You see the result. The suburbs are listed here. And again, from the property data set, I need the type variable as the second input to my table. You see the content of the variable type, flat, house, and unit, are listed here. This type of cross tabulation, when we deal with 2 different variables, it is cross tabulation. Cross tabulation includes a bit of more information. For example, in addition to know there are 5 different houses, 5 different properties in the Albert Park, I know the breakdown of that as well. For example, I know 2 flats, 1 house, and 2 units construct all of that 5 different properties. Okay, I already developed a few tables and I want to change the numbers from the numerical format to the percentage format. And let's take a look here. I'm gonna use the prop table function for changing the numbers inside the table to percentage, and the argument for the prop table is the input argument is a table. I can put this table, the table property suburb, inside these brackets, but as we already talked about it in the class, it's not a good practice because it's gonna make the code very long. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give this table a name. I'm gonna call it T1. As you can see in this line, this table is allocated to an R object which is called T1. In the second line, when I call T1, when I tell R what is T1, he is telling me this is your T1, which is my table. Good. Prop table input argument is a table, isn't it? Let's put this table, which I called it T1, inside these brackets. If you run the code, you're gonna see the numbers are changed to percentage. 16% Albert Park, 23 Carlton, and so on. In the previous slide, we explored how we can use this function of prop table when we only have one variable in the data set. We can also do the same thing if we have two different variables. Over here, I have one variable suburb and one variable type. I'm gonna use the table function to create a table, and I can call it T3 with this allocation sign. If I write T3 and run the code, meaning I'm telling R what was T3, he's gonna tell me this is your table T3. That's good. And if I put the T3 table inside this prop table function, which converts numbers inside the table into percentage and takes a table, you're gonna see the result. Everything is presented in terms of percentage. Please consider using the table argument for the numerical variable is not a good practice. The reason is numerical data is continuous and we're gonna have too many information. You see here, it is the summary of data. Basically, using the price variable for creating a table leads to inserting everything inside the data, inside the new table. So basically, I'm not summarizing anything.